25 June 2022. First part of our conversation was about the cross-cut between Brazil and USA inside the Security Forum and how the misperception about a situation which is against crimes and other things can impact the international arena and the international security system by the incremental, systematic, and very intentional behavior modifying data to keep economic advantage and financial operations, based on illicit properties that carry more complex value as criminal premises, and these premises leading the behavior is indeed will not allow you as having the capacity to do the legal accomplishment as present your results with transparency, and the decreasement of capacity indeed shows how the corruption impacts this kind of architecture by cross-cut from the security forum, threatening the global stability by the fake records in Brazil, which is under the reading as obstruction, and this going as a conjunctural failure, but the global stability in a threatened situation, because you can't have associated a crime or a terror event or an event qualified as terrorism against a group that didn't commit this act as terrorism. For instance, if you have someone firing a gun inside a lounge bar and kill a dozen person, and it's not based on the motivation generally presented as terrorism, for instance, to set the terror. Indeed, you are having something which is like a murder, but according with the elements of this murder, we will have the same idea as the abortion, which is the finalism. We will have on mind that the legal system in general all are against the murder in the same way they are against the corruption. And the murder sometimes you have the excuse as self-defense or something like this. But the corruption you in general have no excuses. And this space you will have an entrance on it as a murder, a homicide. And during this period, indeed, we will observe that the separated events around the globe as firing a gun inside a public space or a lounge bar has more than the association by the type of events. And we must now, we can have that this space here is something that is under the research to understand if the murder is something that comes as a murder until have so much desire and intention and sometimes pleasure in this kind of wrongdoing, that you will, for instance, do this kind of murder, which is fire a gun inside a public space and in an area that kind of has no frontiers and no boundaries. And indeed, this kind of murder is a genocide. You know? Because in all areas we had the murder as event, but the density as behavior, considering the association of discrete events as fire a gun inside a public space or a lounge bar, indeed shows to genocide. It's not terror, but genocide. And now we will observe that this genocide has a situation here. And this situation here will kind of help ourselves to do the cross-cut of our matrix and understand which is the root cause of this determinant evidence as genocide. Because the genocide is the variance as murder with collinear association by death events, and the abortion is inside this situation despite all events as murder or homicide are based on the use of your freedom, but was a misuse of your freedom, which it's not a bless but a curse. And all events as murder, considering the fire a gun inside a public space or a lounge bar, or the poison at your food and drug, which is under the administration of someone that committed obstruction by finalism, which is violate the private space of the law to allow the reading of one specific judicial system as international judicial system. See? And the taxonomy as reading indeed will consider the terrorism at this case as something that you can read, because the situation here indeed by the function with density as corruption, had the increasement, and the function as density as capacity to solve problems and read the thing had a decreasement. It means that my kickoff will have the internal failure on it based on the registry that this COBOL reviewer need to do the analysis. And we told before, if you have a failure or a situation like this, you will research the human resource that are doing the insertion as data, and this human resource indeed has any kind of association with the misperception at this area here that is now exposed from the murder that now isn't a pure murder like your freedom, and the spaces here now are having interfaces or gateway, and we are doing the broken window theory against this is a criminal mobilization against the taxonomy optimizer, but we are having the strike back by the article, for instance, 5 item 5 in Brazil. I can do this and I will have the right as compensation by the violation suffered as research, and the object, for instance, as development and optimization, which is the defensive system globally applied to keep and have or achieve the stability from the tranquility as international reading based on records. And guess what? This element here, I have a segment at that board, which is the Brazilian Embassy on America, that must report failures and all elements to this big bubble in USA, which is the USA, and the crosscut will carry the journey of some task force from America to the embassy in Brazil, inviting the Brazilian failure authorities at department to be inside the embassy on USA, and from here be transferred to America during a flight procedure. And we will understand who is mentoring this kind of thing, which is the finalism, not considering the logical gap as reading events, death events, and which is the orientation, not considering the genocide, because the genocide indeed will have property effects like the heritage, in the same way we had the COVID, and the transference of property and all elements which brings to economic advantage not hidden anymore. And this will be proved. Again, this is a logical proof, but we will have the proof by the hearing procedure inside an airplane as I strike back based on the conjunctural analysis as governance risk and the compliance, and will be inside an area on neutral jurisdiction, and we will understand who is here mentoring all this. We'll finish here. Quite simple to get the point, This area of our matrix we will set with, a situation like this. That is on the research. And this research is a regression per saltum, I would say, from murders and death events observed by the association as death events with logical gaps, but not with gaps at the logic reading anymore, by our model as function density about the corruption at the read procedure of death events, which implies the decreasement of capacity to achieve this genocide situation as a risk present in the compliance, the hearing from who is making these records inside a flight procedure on neutral area. And we will have the element as obstruction of justice. Now, I would say having the not association as taxonomy on terror groups before have the result here to understand who is leading this, because the terror and the genocide kind of can be at the same event, but if it's not at the same event, you can transfer the genocide as blaming and guiltiness for a terror group, because the optimization it's not for this, and based on the effort made at this research to keep stability. We'll finish here. Have a nice week.